Welcome back, everybody. Let's have a look at Bitcoin then. So Bitcoin playing out exactly as we expected it to, even though it's a little faster than I expected it to go, but it hit exactly the targets which I set for myself. I've now closed my short that I've held from this area here. That was my latest short, so I closed that now at 6,800, which was my first target. I do expect this to go lower than this, by the way, just to let you know. I do expect this to go into the by around 6,600, and that is my estimated target for perhaps maybe a reversal. The reasons I say this, and it's been the reasons I've been saying it for a little while now, is that we had an Ichimoku cloud cross on the weekly chart, meaning a continuation down from the price action where it took place at, which at the time was this level here, 7,800. We're continuing down now, and I was expecting us to bounce on this level here, which was the bottom, or should I say the top of the Ichimoku cloud at this level. Now the Ichimoku cloud is now in the greens, so it's a little bit more positive in that respect. However, it's a very thin crust of that cloud, so if it does break and penetrate down beneath there, I do expect a deeper retracement. Now, there's one other thing that is something I'm a little concerned over for Bitcoin's health, and that's the incoming death cross, which now looks like it's looming like it was before. We had an incoming death cross at this level here, this point here, that was avoided. And actually, when you look at it, we saw this incoming. We thought this was going to take place a few days later, and we were, this was completely, well, let's just say it was delayed, because we see what's happened to us now. But yeah, it was incoming and then avoided. Now it looks like it's incoming again, but it hasn't yet taken place. Does this mean that we're going to have another one of these big, massive reversal candles, but this one perhaps being a more constructive and everlasting candle? Who knows? I just don't know, to be honest with you. At the moment, until the oscillators begin to reset, everything looks pretty bearish. The only thing in its favour is this big bounce that we've had here. We've had a bounce from the, I guess it was just below 6,800 up to that point there, so we've actually bounced a considerable figure. 7.24% on the bounce itself, which is pretty impressive, to be honest with you, very impressive indeed. So we might be looking at more of a bounce up at this level. Now, when we are looking at this on a daily chart, we broke way beneath the Bollinger Band. Normally when we see a candle break beneath the Bollinger Band, we see a continuation for a while on the opposite end of the spectrum, so perhaps we are going to see a continuation up to maybe even, we could even call it 8,000, or we could call it the top of this descending trend, which isn't too far away from 8,000. If it was to do it tomorrow, I mean, that would be only 8,125. Not a great deal extra headroom there when we're talking about Bitcoin and the way Bitcoin likes to move. So what I am going to say now is we have had a very good wick here, showing a very positive signs of, not reversal, but a very, very good strong bounce. We are creeping our way back into the bottom of the Bollinger Band. We're likely to try and make an attempt up to 8,000. The dangerous thing is that everything else on this chart says bearish. We're beneath all moving averages, all major moving averages. It looks like we've got an incoming death cross. We have a conversion baseline cross on the weekly Ichimoku cloud. So basically telling us that there's a continuation of a downwards trend. If we get this death cross, and we get this death cross at this level here, or even at 8,000, let's just be generous and say that the death cross comes in a few days at 8,000, we're looking at a 35% retrace, generally speaking, across the board. That's what you'd expect after a death cross. We're talking about a Bitcoin of $5,140 or so, bringing us pretty much all the way back to where we started from that initial pump back in April. Not a good sign for Bitcoin. When we're looking at this now, what it looks to me is it's beginning to look more and more like a failed cycle altogether. Yes, we are still up from our bottom down here, but we're getting ever closer to retracing now. And would we retrace in full? Very difficult to say, but could we retrace in full? Absolutely, yes, we could retrace in full. There's no reason why we wouldn't, especially if we have a death cross here. If we have a death cross, we could retrace, definitely. Last time we had a death cross, it was here. And from there to there, that was a 63% retracement from that level to the bottom. That was the last time we had a death cross. It looks like we're about to have a death cross now, and interestingly enough, where are we having it? It's at that same price level. So we are having a death. It looks like we're having a death cross at the same sort of areas that we had a death cross before. Now, by the time this death cross takes place, we could have risen up a little bit further, definitely. So, you know, are we going to make it our way down into the 3000s? Probably not, because technically we are still in a bull trend, technically. But the closer this gets now, and the bigger this death cross, once this death cross takes place, I mean, you know, I am not going to call this a bull trend for much longer. You know, if we end the year at $5,000, you know, that's not a great return if you're an investor. If you're a hodler, you know, you'll be kicking yourself because you didn't sell at 14 or even 10. So all I can say is we are looking for a little bit of a bounce here. This bounce hasn't fully played out, I'm sure. We are going to reach our way up to maybe even 8,000 over the weekend at some point, but this continuation will carry on, and this death cross is more than likely going to play out, because there's nothing on this chart to say it's going to do otherwise. The only thing we've got to go by is historically, when we're at the level that we are right now, we did shoot through the roof for no obvious or apparent reason other than to, I suppose, dump into the liquidity that was falling in place with the shorts, which I'm sure a lot of people, if they haven't already shorted, you know, they're a bit late in the day now to be shorting now. The shorts are all over, but I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, let's be nice. There's a lot of, you know, people who are new to this who are thinking, let me short this now. Now's not the time to be shorting, and now's the time to be neutral. You missed your opportunity to short. Best thing to do now is wait it out. If you want to short again, maybe look at shorting at 8,000, but have a tight stop loss just above this descending trend, just in case it decides to go whoopie-doo again. But yeah, don't go doing anything now. You know, there's no point in trading this now. The moves have largely played out. It wants to reset itself, and in my opinion, it does still want to come down further into the 6,000s and possibly now into the 5,000s. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. I hope you have a nice weekend. I'll stay tuned. I'll keep you updated as to what my thoughts and analysis is on this asset as it unfolds. Because over the weekend, I would expect to see a death cross emerge, and that death cross will be pretty nasty when it does. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice evening. Take care.